start with a little slideshow, and then Tana give us a presentation on what's happening.
Going first.
No. We'll have a break and get a few drinks, and then you'll be on straight after the break. So before Cumbria, how are we getting on? What did we get up to? All that way. So Cumbria branches have been established. A couple are a little bit shaky. The Penrith and Solway ones going quite well. The Barrow Furnace one's going quite well. Westmoreland and Lonsdale not so much, and Whitehaven and Workington is kicking off as well. Doing okay. Tonight there's an election in Westmoreland and Lonsdale, 2 elections actually. That will be at the count tonight, so that'll be interesting to see how they go. Interestingly, these council by-elections, they didn't field the Conservative candidate for either of them, and exactly the same in Penrith. In Penrith there's a by-election and the Conservatives didn't field the candidate, so it's looking like the Conservatives have completely collapsed now, which is not surprising. Notice that the Barrow and Furness constituency has grown by quite a bit since the restructuring. We've now included Millham and all the area around Millham up as far as Ravenglass. So that'll be a bit more boot leather when we get into it. And we obviously share the local authority with Westmoreland since the restructuring. The election was absolutely fantastic for a quick 6 weeks campaign with no branch structure at the time. Basically a Facebook campaign that had people pumping in Barrow and Furness. There were about 30 or 40 people all delivering leaflets throughout the constituency, just basically from a quick Facebook post. Absolutely privileged to be part of that. They all organised that. It was really good. Carlisle came a good third, 20%. Penrith and Solway third. Whitehaven and Workington came a second. They actually knocked the Conservatives into third place on that one. That's phenomenal. The phone came from nowhere to do that. Westmoreland and Lonsdale, Tim Farron won that seat, which knocked the Labour candidate into fourth place. Phenomenal once again. And then Barrow, our guy Barry Morgan, brilliant campaign again, came third. So it shook them up, got us pumping, really gave us the launch pad to start the branch. And what's it mean for reform? 20%, depends how you do it, but 20% roughly voted there for reform. And so our campaign moving forward, during the general election in July, the online campaign was exceptional. Like I said, the Facebook campaign and Twitter and all the other media, social media stuff was really good. But obviously there was no branch structure. So what we got, the votes we got, but bearing that in mind, was incredible.
Oh.
I'll just go to the back. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So throughout Cumbria, we need to bring our ground campaign back up to even better, ideally. And we need to learn some lessons from the Liberal Democrats, because Tim Farron, as we all know, was a really good campaign machine, and we need to learn some lessons from them. And I imagine that they'll be eyeing up the Barrow and Furness constituency now that we share the local authority with them, and they actually head the local authority. So we cannot assume the full parliamentary term that needs to be fired on all cylinders by 2027. I can't see the Labour government lasting much long after 2027, and we'll come to why shortly. Branch structure, established branches, and form of government, focusing on campaigning, and the role of the campaign coordinator is crucial. The most important person in here tonight is the campaign coordinator, because this is all about campaigning. Targeting campaign efficiently. 105 constituencies have been identified as potential priority seats, not target seats, priority seats. That's going to change depending on the local election results. So the match local elections, 25, 26, 27, 28, obviously, and each region can see where they will prioritise. So the branches themselves will suss out where they're going to prioritise, and we'll be given a lot of freedom to do that. So the candidates required, and this is why the Labour Party aren't going to last past 2027. Next month, May the 1st, 2028, candidates will be elected. It's going to be a little bit messy because in reality the branches are still embryonic. They're still babies. They're going to make a lot of messing up. They're not going to get nomination forms in time. They're not going to have the nomination forms right. They're going to learn a lot of lessons in this one because all these new branches are going to struggle. But we're still going to. I think we're still going to do quite well in there. And our nearest elections in there will be in Lancashire. So we'll be looking at our campaign manager. Will be looking at organising people going through to Lancashire to helping out during April for the 1st of May election, and the nearest ones will be Morecambe to us, possibly Canterbury. 2026 there's going to be 4,453 council elections across the country, and it says +1 because that +1 is possibly a mayoral candidate in Cumbria due to the restructuring and the devolution. It's under consultation at the moment, but we're looking at in 13 months' time, May 2026, a mayoral candidate in Cumbria. So that'll be something for us to campaign for. And then 2027, now this is the big one. This is when we here in Cumbria will have our local elections. And this is where we all kind of know that the Labour Party are going to absolutely collapse by this time. I mean, it's still going now. And so very shortly after that, I can't see Starmer lasting and the Labour Party going to be collapsing. So we need to be preparing for them elections and for the general election after that. So the council elections in 2027, most of you will know, we did the restructuring a couple of years ago. We now just have the local authorities. Cumbria County Council has been done away with. Now that Carlisle has asset stripped Barrow and Furness, we've done away with it. And we've got the Cumberland side on the west, and the Westmoreland and Furness side on the east. Cumberland will be electing 46 councillors, and Westmoreland and Furness 65 councillors. And that's what we'll be aiming for. So the members of the branch will be electing the councillors. Well, the members of our branch will be electing the councillors within the Barrow and Furness constituency, and the members of the Westmoreland and Lonsdale branch will be doing theirs, and then the Penrith one will be doing theirs. And then we'll all be helping each other out with their campaigns. Build up the regional tier. So this is what the head office is kind of saying they're going to do, and they've already started this with establishing the branches and giving the expert their guidance. Basically copying a lot of what the Lib Dems are doing, other than the absolute total lies that they tell. Candidates and volunteers perform heroics at the general election. It's just saying what I said before, that the general election in July was a phenomenal result. Crucial to invest in the regional tier of the party, providing the capacity to cascade down expertise and ensure local teams execute good campaign plans. So the party is getting funding and getting donors, and we're spending that money on training branches. We've already had me training things up in Blackpool, down in Blackpool, and probably been to that one yet. Obviously, down to some. So that's moving ahead. But at the moment, obviously, they've been concentrating on the branches that have got elections coming up. And full-time staff at head office will play and help us out. So the plans, every constituency will have a campaign plan, simple but smart documents, guided with a central design template. So it's all a lot of online stuff now. The old days of designing our own leaflets on a rickety old laptop that keeps crashing. And was it Microsoft Paint? Was it David? They select the target wards and set their key priorities. leaving minimum most winnable seats first to the Organ elections in 2025. So 2025, this is next month. We're campaigning next month, all through next month, at the 1st of May. It's going to get very busy. Like agriculture, yeah, and fundraising. Most important that the fundraising is a tricky one, because all the funds we raise is just to pay for the candidates' campaign expenses. There's no funds go to any of us. There's no expenses, no wages, no mileage fees or anything. So all just goes to helping candidates that can't afford their own campaigns. And in the case of a parliamentary candidate, we help towards they have to pay a £500 deposit to the town hall. So if they haven't got it, sometimes they have it. If they haven't got it, we help them so that we're not restricted to picking candidates that have got a few quid. You see, with anyone that's capable of doing it, people that are active in their community, but then say I can't afford leaflets. We've got the money there to help them. So the resources, exceptional fundamentals, guide campaign, provide batches of resources to achieve this. Software, so the head office is establishing the software that's making it a lot easier to do campaigning. All the online stuff can capture voting and retention data, but there's a lot of footwork as well, knocking door to door to get that. And that all get pumped into the software system, and then that software system will generate the maps that the leaflet deliverers will have, so that we're not overlapping. During the general election in July, it was so rushed that there was quite a lot of overlapping of people. It didn't really matter because people were getting double the leaflets, but it was causing a bit of anger by the people that were delivering the leaflets. Were getting a bit cheesed off because an area had already been done. But that'll be eliminated by all this. Run, get out the vote operations, that'll be at election time. Make use of the marked register. So we have to buy the marked register. We get the electoral register, which tells us who's registered to vote. We get that for free. But the marked register that tells us who actually does vote, that costs us money. And the template leaflets and election materials available from the central portal. So that's all online, done by head office. We basically get a template that we pump in our detail, the candidates' details, and then we get sent straight to the printer, and it's just like there's a lot of legal requirements as well in these leaflets, and so that's all taken care of. So we can, if you get in the past, we've got a bit unstuck with some of those. And training the volunteers. So we'll train the volunteers to become experts at ground campaigning. So this is what they reckon they're going to do. Going with the knowledge from running to door knocking sessions to what is 3-phase ground campaigning, from how to nominate local election candidates to how to undertake a membership drive. And training will be best delivered to constituency level through online training videos, precise, persuasive and engaging. At the moment it's all face-to-face, all the training. It's been face-to-face, very few in the way of videos. So maybe they're just perfecting the system and then they do it on videos. And it will cover the nation builder, which is the software for the emails and the membership emails and the voter database. So the mission is not only to get Nigel Farage in Downing Street, because that's not going to be enough. I mean, he's going to hit brick walls every way he turns. The civil service, the unions, the town halls, and the deep state, they're going to give him hell. So the mission is to get him in there, and the mission is to give him as much support as we can by putting as many councillors in as we can, to control as many councillors as we can, to actually get us out of this mess that we're in. And that is easily possible, easily doable, if you look at how we're polling at the moment. Even with Rupert's shenanigans, we're doing really well. If it hasn't been for him, we'd be up at 30% now, which is phenomenal once again. So, I'll do my impersonation of a psychopathic mass murderer. Next slide, please. There you go. So we need your help, we need everyone's help, we need members to sign up to membership, so we've got a massive pool of candidates to choose from and to vote in, that will be voted in by the members. Campaigns cost time and money. We have a chance to make history, and this kind of thing comes around every 100 years really, where we make this kind of change. And here's how you can help. Regular donations, one-off donations and fundraising. Like I say, campaigning costs money, and the donations go to the branch. Social media, we've got to stop being the quiet majority. We've got to start being vocal. We've got to start commenting on social media and putting stuff on our Facebook page and saying I'm here and I'm proud to support reform and get on with it. And the same with online interaction. We need to start commenting on the email, comment pages and stories and things. We can't just leave it up to the left, who have been really good at hammering their side, and that's what people read. They read all their side. We need to get into that as well. And communication, that's face to face, and conversation comes up and we're all a bit quiet because we don't really want to start a row. We need to actually start talking, because people are getting convinced wrongly, left, right and centre. Canvassing, street stalls and local awareness is self-explanatory. Please volunteer to help. So if you want to take a photograph of our details, my details and the campaign coordinator details, then you're quite welcome to. No, you probably got mine anyway. And then there's an online form, and I've got a paper version as well that I'll put up later on, that you can put down what you're actually capable of doing to help, as in even people that could just fold leaflets. That's a help. People that can phone people up. It's not all door knocking, but a lot of it is door knocking and leaflet delivery. So next I'd like to introduce our branch committee, and this is the interim committee until June. We've been very busy, extremely busy. And firstly I'd like to introduce you the multi-talented and beautiful Leonie Smith. Hello. We'll get some round of applause for Leonie. So, and for the ladies, we've got our Deputy Chairman and Press Secretary, Peter Hurley. Our Treasurer is Terence Ellis. Finally, not least of all, the most important person on this committee, and the guy that's going to be the busiest and the most demanding job of all, is going to be our campaign coordinator across Crossway. So I will now start with well, first of all, is there any questions about any of that?
Yeah, can I just two quickies? Does the support for local mayors, or rather regional mayors, come from Nigel Farage or from headquarters, or what's the national policy?
By support, you mean? Well,
The idea of another layer of bureaucracy, in other words.
Well, I'm with you. Yeah, it's just another layer of bureaucracy, but it's in consultations and it looks like it's going ahead.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I don't support it. But
We don't have a choice.
I wondered if
point.
that was national policy.
National, as in reform policy.
Yes.
They're just
Not
making,
sure.
making the
Haven't
most. They're
decided
just
yet.
making the most of it.
Okay. And the second thing quickly is, when it comes to the local elections, are candidates pushing local issues
Yes,
or national issues?
the local issues. That's why.
Maybe we can talk about that later on.
Yeah, that's why we need to choose candidates that are involved in the community.
Right, okay.
Ideally.
Interesting.
Okay, so I'll start with there's no apologies received. Matters arising. Chair's report. So now I'll hand you over to the Deputy Chair, who will tell you about the round table event that we had last week in Barrow, and how that went.
Right. My name's Pete Hurley, as you've just been introduced yet. My background's in industrial marketing, by the way. So it's, what I did was with our recent round table, in order to get elected, we've got to be an evangelical party. We've got to basically go out there and sell a message, okay? And it's about, we've got to sell, well, we are unashamedly a populist party, yeah? We're here to represent the people, unlike people who are, other parties who are there to represent a dogma, yeah? Our dogma is in representing the people. So your views are what drive the issues which drive us. So what I did was with the recent round table, we ran it like a small focus group of our own members. We got a dozen people in there as basically a focus team. And I used standard marketing tools to work out what was the things that were driving us as voters. Right. So this is basically what we pulled it out. That unfortunately isn't showing the full picture there. If you go back to the time of the election in November, right, Ipsos Mori put out. You see these regular surveys that they put out when they survey the whole nation, and that's pointing out about what are the things which drive people most. And at that time, they identified that the economy, immigration, NHS, the inflation and housing were the top 5 factors. Now, when it comes to any particular constituency, we all have local individual factors which affect us, which means that why we might be driven in a different way. For example, if we were in Dover now, I bet you bottom line that immigration would have been the top issue and not the economy. So what I did was simple questionnaire, a couple of dozen issues, you list in the top 10 issues that was important to you in your priority. And from that, we can work out a weighted average, what was bugging us as the voters in this constituency the most. Now, when it comes down to the top issues, immigration and grooming gangs were a big issue around here. And it's obvious that we're a ward which has recently suffered from the trauma of that. So it's going to impact us more than the overlying economy. Yeah. Beyond that, it was the economy and matters relating to the economy and NHS. So what we've seen in our particular ward is there's an inversion between the two top issues. Yeah. We're not so much worried about the economy. Unemployment here is comparatively low to the nation as a whole. We've generally had steadier employment. We are a bit of a backwater, and a lot of the things which impact the country don't impact us. Yeah, up until recently, immigration has not been an issue for us. Not until these last 2 or 3 years. Yeah, it's only in this last 2 or 3 years it's become an issue. We don't now even have a big migrant community. The number of Muslims in our ward is probably less than 500.
I think it was 300.
300 and something in Barrow and in Dalton total. Yeah. So it's the actual issue of, as you can see down here, when it comes down to issues of social cohesion, they're way down the list. We don't have a problem with social cohesion in this area. We don't have a problem with racism. We're not racists. Yeah. What we are concerned about is this immigration and grooming gangs issue. This wouldn't have got out of hand had we had adequate policing. Had there been an adequate police response, it would not have blown out into the proportion that it has done. Yeah. So when you actually look at the root cause of this, the root cause of it is poor response by the police, which caused this to rise up. But if we're going out there and selling a message, right, we basically got to say, well, listen, we recognise this. Yeah? People do want, and what we've got the feel from anecdotally, is that people do want a national inquiry. And that's what we would be pushing for. And that's what we would have to, as in terms of getting elected, push on the doorstep, yeah, that we want a national inquiry. Plus, we are the fact of the matter is that we are listening. We're not trying to sweep this under the carpet. Yeah. And it's quite evident that the national message coming from the Labour Party is very, very, very much sweeping it under the carpet. So you can see how this is just a small use of a tool, right, locally, that we can repeat regularly, yeah, to get a feel from what our membership thinks and feels, a feel from what the ward generally thinks and feels, because when it comes down to it, we're no different to our neighbours, right? So we are a sample of what they are, yeah? So our concerns are their concerns. All we've got to do is make sure that we reflect their concerns, yeah? And also provide solutions to it. For example, we know that this wouldn't have got out of hand had the police had an adequate response. They didn't. They've had some sort of analysis. They quite clearly made mistakes. They are still trying to sweep it under the carpet. Our local MP voted against having a national inquiry, even against the wishes of the rank and file of those that she represents.
Yeah.
So in other words, for us, representative democracy is not working. What we're trying to do is bring back representative democracy, bring back direct democracy, right? But it's where you get to choose, where you get to drive what's going on, where the actual beast, the blob, starts to respond what you want. Yeah. Now, this is just a starting point. Yeah. Other features here. Terrorism and issues like that are more acutely, we feel them more acutely here because our friends down the road who knock out little submarines are apt to play with nuclear weapons, yeah? So we live in what is a very sensitive area, and up until about 30 or 40 years ago, it wasn't possible for a Russian person to travel here, yeah? So that was because we were a place where secrets were performed, yeah? So we're quite concerned about this. I myself deliver for the food bank. I myself, over the last 2 or 3 years, have delivered to people in hotels overlooking the said nuclear submarine yard who are from places foreign, yeah, who shouldn't really be here and who could loosely be considered a security risk. So why the Home Office insists on sending them here where there is no work for them, there is no cultural infrastructure, yeah, and things which they could well damage, yeah. And we've had a recent fire in the yard. Nobody's got to the bottom of that yet. So these things, for our particular constituency, they form an issue to us. This, by the way, is on the WhatsApp group. Yeah, I didn't put it on the Facebook page, but it's actually on the WhatsApp
I've
group.
got this on the Facebook group.
Because we now closed it off. So for members can get access to the Facebook group and the WhatsApp group. And you can see this is broadly the data. And this shows you the weighting of it. What we've got here is we've got a lot more issues, relatively, than the very narrow way in which the national issues are there. Most people concerned outside this peninsula are more concerned with the economy. We're less concerned with the economy. Yeah. So that's the sum of what we've got. So all I can say is we're trying to be evangelists. Well, please be an evangelist for us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
You got lots of categories there, all of which are clearly very important. But the one thing I noticed, unless my eyesight's too poor to see it, is anything about free speech and an open media.
Well, what we do,
Some of those problems are caused by lack of free speech.
They are. That's their root cause issues, and you'll actually find that it's actually incorporated in separately. We got it down there in. Where's it at now?
It was brought up at the meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so important, like those girls in Southport, you're not even allowed to talk about it,
Yeah.
are you? It's
Yeah.
ridiculous, it's like a police state. Right.
Social cohesion.
He was under social cohesion and all the other things which affect social cohesion. Yeah.
I mean, me as a voter, I like to see it in big block capitals in your face, free speech.
Yeah.
Media.
And that it is a particularly big issue, and it's to the point where, I mean, I've joined the Free Speech Union. I would recommend everybody here to safeguard themselves, yeah, because you say the wrong word
Mm-hmm.
and people can jump on you.
Well, talking of Russia, that's like communist Russia, isn't it? Do we want a country like that, really?
Well, who's it that
No
actually brought it? I think it was an American politician who actually challenged a British journalist
Yeah.
recently and said that there were more people in prison for exercising free speech or trying to in Britain than there were actually in Russia.
Yeah. And kicking out criminals to make
Yeah.
people. It's just absurd.
Is there any more questions on that? I think we'll move on to the membership secretary's report. Can you do this one? No? So, this constituency branch has 438 registered supporters, 395 fully paid up members, which is a grand total of 833. That's absolutely phenomenal. And the national number now is up to 219,781. I mean, that's incredible.
Did you say 19 or 19?
219. So now we'll have, thank you for that, Leonie. So now we'll have our treasurer's report from Terry. Thank you, Terry. Turn the mic.
I hear me. We had some of you from Barrel, so I'm going to repeat myself from Barrel, so if I do forget it. Right. All the treasurer does is we have to finance our own branch. We don't get financed from the headquarters. And so what that means is basically as Colin said, if you have anyone who we're putting forward or anything, we have to finance them. We can pick them, but we have to finance them. Not much comes from head office. Okay. And the way we can finance them is there's several ways. There's the obviously donations, right? You'll find that on the donation page. If you go on to the Reform UK website, click the branch. It's very important you click the branch because each branch has to look after itself, right? So you click the branch, and when on your branch you can make donations, right? Our other way is by having fundraising, which Craig's going to go on about, right? That we merchandise, any that type of thing. But we have to raise our own funds. Right? Everyone who's taking part, everyone's a volunteer. There's nothing, no expenses, everything goes towards champion whoever we put forward. Right? So as I said, that's the way we can do it. And the only other way, right, is the donation. You can donate directly if you wanted to. If you didn't want to go through the complicated thing of going through it, you can donate and it will become that way. Right? Now we only started a few weeks ago. We started this. Right? And up to now, we've raised about £269. Right? That's the total in a matter of a couple of weeks. We've done by raffles and donations, and people have donated. Right? And our expenditure in that time has been zero. So Elon is very happy with us doing that. So we've actually got a total at the moment of £369, and that's where we're starting from as of tonight. Maybe it'll get a bit more. But that's how the system goes, and basically what it means is we have to be self-sufficient, more or less. We don't get any of the memberships money. Apparently we are going to, I've read.
Yeah, I'm going to go over that.
But at the moment, if you pay your membership, that goes to run the national thing. We don't get that, right? But they are saying they're going to give us a percentage of it in the future, and Colin might know more about it.
Thank you for that. Terence, thank you. So I'll just go over that actually, because if you join as a member of Reform, just join, then the Reform Party keeps all the membership, £25. But if you join and say actually which branch you're part of on this on this page, then you'll see here, we should start up, mouse moving around it, we'll go to find my branch, and you type in your postcode or whatever, and click on the barrel and furnace. I can't pause it, but you'll see there's two options come up. One is join and one is donate. Now, obviously, the donate one's pretty obvious. But the important one there is the join one. If you join, if anyone is going to join the branch, if you join through that system by typing in the branch, then the branch actually gets part of the fee. I think it's about £5, is it?
I think it's 20% at the moment, yeah.
Right. So that's just another way for the branch to raise funds.
I think that's quite new though, they haven't been doing that up to now, we've received nothing from the members that are members at the moment, we haven't received that. There's a bit of future members.
But in the few weeks we've been going, there's been £100 in various small donations.
Yeah.
And a couple of decent ones as well.
Yeah.
£100 has been donated through that system. So thank you to everybody.
Can I say we do get the names, people who do donate, we get the names. So we know who the people are who donate. Right. We don't mention your names, but we know who's donated.
Cool. Well, thank you for that, Terry. Thank you. And so now, next report is from the campaign manager, Krog. Thank you, Krog.
Can I mic?
Say again?
Can I mic?
I don't. Well, I need the mic. Can everyone hear me?
No, just show.
Just shout. Tell me if you can't hear me.
Project your voice.
Okay, I'll try my best. Okay.
I'll do that.
Yeah, that's it.
No puppet strings here, I'm afraid, guys. You okay?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, my name is Krog Crossthwaite, and as per the rules of reform branch, as we mentioned before, I'm your appointed campaigns manager. This, of course, is, as Colin mentioned before, until all posts are brought up at the annual general meeting, which I hope that this post will be heavily contested. I want as many people involved as there possibly can be. Nevertheless, for now, it is my privilege to hold this place. I'm quite proud of the fact that I'm in there and it's up and running. It is a historic moment, as was mentioned before, and it's a pleasure to be working towards something that I think, hopefully, will change British politics forever. Unfortunately, and as far as campaigns go, there's not a lot to say locally, and even less so. I'll come to that in a minute. We've not had a chance to be active in our own area. The truth of the matter is, as Colin said before, 2027 before the local elections and a possible 2029, unless the Labour Party collapses before, which is news to me. I didn't know about that. But of course, could change at any time, as Colin quite rightly points out. And as disappointing as that is, we will have to endure that Labour government locally and nationally until such time as we can act. Nevertheless, the upside is this gives us time to plan and prepare. My long-term plan is to create a group that will work locally and hopefully can travel, and we can help our comrades in other different areas. Westmoreland and Lonsdale are going to be something that we want to challenge, and that Liberal stronghold that Kendall has at the moment. And that I was hoping, I've got to say, that we're going to challenge some areas that have come up for elections this month. Unfortunately for me, I had to go into hospital, and I've been sort of out of the battle for a while. And again, I have to put that back into a practical term. What I want to do, I've intended to coordinate those activities and those wishing to travel, and I have got a list of names all ready to go. What I want from you guys is as many people who are volunteering as possible, to give us a chance to put something together. What I have realised is that this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. It's going to take a lot of time and planning. I do, however, plan to put that into practice. I do really want to work hard for this party because I think we've got something to work for here, and I think it's definitely worth hanging on to. To do this, I'm looking for. Have we got a copy of the agenda? Is the agenda out generically?
Just on the bottom of there, mate.
Okay. Just to check I've got the same things. What my aim is to get, well, the titles of campaign teams together. So that's going to be, as we know it for now, a canvassing coordinator. That's someone going door to door, leafleting, talking to others face to face. I know there are some things in training in these people, but I don't know how that actually practically works yet, and I certainly haven't been part of that myself, but I plan to be. Get the vote out, those willing to pledge to need a lift to get to the polling stations, to be active on the day, to get voters to the polls. Poster garden boards, people who can practically help to put out these things in people's gardens, and I guess not behind my head because I keep knocking them off. But the plan is to make us very public. We want to be a popularist party, and that's how we get it out there. And of course, as Terry said, fundraising, which could be a big issue in itself as we're self-funding, and to work with people who want to make the money for them places. One of the things that has come up is someone to work in social media, someone who knows how to use the internet, someone who can link everything in and get us out there, to coordinate all these things together, and any others that come to mind as we get together and work as a group. Once we've filled them posts and the campaign manager, whoever that might be at the time, gets a chance to work out how we put it all together and get out there. Once we start practicing and working together, I'm hoping that quite quickly we get a coordinated group that can be out there and say what it is we want to say. If anyone does want to put the name forward, please give me their name, a number, or anyone that is on the top desk tonight or any of the committee. I am going to work hard for this party because I believe we're on the cusp of something seismic in politics. Chance to make a real difference. And if I'm right, reform are going to use that common sense and many other issues, direct democracy, the case that was particularly well made last time by Neil Petrie at the Barra branch, which will invariably mean more involvement from the people and not a dictatorial, ideologically led government that we all are experiencing right now from this catatonic, whatever it is, Labour government I just don't recognise. What I think we need to get to understand is that we're the people, we are the people. This is our moment in time to put it out there, to reap the benefits of true freedom of speech, a political practice to reinstate our country back to its former glory so we can have it in the way that we want it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Grant. Now, there's some forms here that are volunteering forms, and there's a box of pens here. So that thing you can scan there with your phone is basically exactly the same form, but we can do it online if you want. If I can just pass that to you and just pass them around, and if you're able to help in any way that's listed there, then fill that out and we'll collect it from you later. And thanks for that, Grant. Can I get that? So the approval of the previous minutes, date of the previous minutes, 6th of March 2025. Who was there at that meeting? You were we? Dick, were you there? Yeah. Can you approve the minutes?
Sorry?
Can you
Yeah, I
approve?
can do that, yeah. If an outside can, if an outside is allowed to.
Carlisle.
Well, that's a point, yeah.
Tommy.
Tony, you were there. Can you approve the minutes? Can you approve the minutes? Yeah. Minutes. Yeah. You approved the minutes in the last meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. any items from from the previous minutes? Anyway, no? That's good. So the agenda items, we'll go for a quick break before Simon speaks. So just cover the agenda items, the campaigns, mutual aid. It's basically what I said earlier about we help out Lancashire with their election. And then when we have ours, there'll be somebody who wants to help us with ours. What do you think? And I think with the doubt in Lancaster's a little more, and probably a bit of a doubt in Barrow. So, although doubt in Ulverston's quite nice too. And Act 2 is to establish an Ulverston action group. Now this is a similar thing to what we had last week, a round table event. It can be organised however the group wants to organise it. The last one, as you saw, was on issues that affected the constituency. So I'm looking for volunteers really to operate independently as a kind of subcommittee within Ulverston. So somebody to head that and take details of people and get together. And they'll probably get together here. Last time it was 12 people. The last one. Yeah. Just to have a chinwag, have a beer, and get to know the other people that are in the party within Ulverston. So that'll be an Ulverston action group, Ulverston subcommittee, name it whatever you like. There's a WhatsApp group set up for that, so we'll add you all to that. Anyone that wants to be in the WhatsApp group, the Ulverston WhatsApp group, if you text me, the top number there, and just put a message, your name and Ulverston group or something, and I'll add you to that, and you can go from there, and kind of just organise it between yourselves. And if you want myself or one of this committee to come up and chair it, the first one, to kick us off, that's fine. So that's been fantastic. So the next item is item 3, which is October. So we'll take a quick break before that and get fresh drinks and everything. And we'll see you all back here in 10-15 minutes. So thank you very much.
And if anybody has not got a raffle ticket, we've still got raffle tickets for you. So anybody who came in late, I'll be after you.
Get an important job done first.
You get them, I'll get the paint.
How much are the tickets? How much are the tickets? 50p.